Algebra 1, Section 3.1 and 3.2, Solving Equations. In this chapter, we're dealing with equations that have equal signs on it. Instead of just simplifying equations, we're actually going to be solving for x. We're going to find the unknown variable. And we're going to start with the basics. And the basic thing that you need to know, whether you're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, whichever that you need to know, you need to always keep the equation balanced. Or else you're changing the whole thing and you're no longer solving for the correct variable. So what you do on one side of equation, you have to do on the other. As long as you do that, you keep the equation balanced and you can manipulate the equation any way you want. For example, look at number 1. Number 1 has x minus 9 equals negative 17. In order for me to solve x, I want to get rid of all of x's friends. Okay, by doing the opposite. So everything on the same side of the equal sign as x, I need to move to the other side. In order for me to take it away and move it to the other side, I have to do the opposite and apply it to both sides. So for example, this is x minus 9. Well, how is 9 connected to x? Well, it's connected by that negative sign. Okay? I mean the subtraction sign. So the opposite, negative 9, if I add 9, it'll give me 0. That's the reason why I want to do the opposite. See? If I do a negative 9 plus 9 on this side, these cancel out because negative 9 plus 9 gives me 0. So I'm left with what? X. But I can't just do that because then I've changed the entire equation. In order to keep it balanced, I need to then also, whatever I do here, have to do on this side. So I have to add 9 on this side. So x is by itself because I've got rid of 9, but to keep it balanced, I do negative 17 plus 9. Okay? So I have negative 17 on the number line, and I want to go jump to a higher number. I want to jump 9 numbers higher. So this would give me a negative 8. Right? So that's my answer. So again, I'm just trying to get rid of all of the friends that x has on the same side of the equal sign and bring it to the other by doing the opposite. Let's look at number 2. Well, number 2, I have a little complication because I have a minus a negative. Well, if I rewrite it to negative 11, I'm keeping everything the same, but I'm changing this minus a negative into plus 2. Now I can solve it. Okay? In this case, 9 was on that side. It doesn't matter which side the x is on, but what I need to do is I need to make sure that I get rid of all its friends and bring it to the other side. Well, the only friend our variable n has is positive 2. Okay? The opposite of positive 2 is what? Negative 2. I'm going to subtract 2. Okay? This cancels out, leaving me with just n. But again, I can't just do it to one side. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So if I'm subtracting 2 from this side, I have to subtract 2 from this side. Negative 11, jumping down 2, will give me a negative 13. And that is my answer. So far, we've been dealing with plus and minus. But you can also do the same thing with multiplication and division. For example, this is negative 3x equals 2. Well, the friend that x has is negative 3, but it's not being added to x or subtracted, it's being multiplied to x. So in order for me to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite. So if it's being multiplied by x, the opposite would be dividing by x. So here, I need to not divide by x, sorry. The opposite of multiplying by x is dividing, okay, in order to get rid of making x by itself. So this is negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3, it cancels each other out, okay, giving me just x, which is what I want. But again, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I have to also divide by negative 3 here. Now 2 divided by 3 is a decimal, so we're just going to leave it in fraction and we can't simplify it anymore. So my answer is going to be negative 2 over 3, or negative 2 over negative, or positive 2 over negative 3. That negative can be put either way. But my answer is a negative 2 over 3. Alright? So what you're going to do next is I have, this one is a little bit more complicated in the sense that there's this fraction that's connected to it. And sometimes we get a little scared of fractions, which is okay. But what we need to do is, in order to get rid of a fraction, the opposite which would be the reciprocal. So remember when we were dividing fraction, we had to flip it? Well, in order to get rid of 7, 8, because m is connected, the opposite of 7 over 8 would be 8 over 1. I have to let me start by multiplying both sides by negative 1. The reason why I'm going to do this is because there's this negative attached to the m. So if I do multiply both sides by negative 1, then I end up with 7 over 8m, because a negative times negative gives me a positive. Now all I have to worry about is that 7 over 8. In order for me to get rid of 7 over 8, I just need to multiply it by the opposite, which is 8 over 7. The 8's cancel out and the 7 cancel out, leaving me with just what letter? M. You see? But again, what I do to one side, I have to do the other. So this would be times 8 over 7. So I'm multiplying 8 over 7 times negative 14. I put it over 1 and I multiply. 8 times negative 14. Let me see if I can find my calculator. 8 times negative 14 is 112. Negative 112, and 7 times 1 is 7. So 112 divided by 7 is, negative 112 divided by 7 is negative 16 equals m. So let me go through that again just in case you didn't realize. Just in case you didn't fully follow, I multiplied both sides by negative, so this negative can be on the other side because I didn't want it to be attached to the m anymore. Okay? Then after that, I took the opposite of 8. You know, the opposite of multiplying by negative 3 is dividing. This one, the opposite of subtracting negative 9 would be adding positive 9. This one, in a fraction, the opposite would be to flip it and multiply. So 7 over 8, the opposite would be 8 over 7, but I had to do it to the other side. Okay, leaving me with just m on this side, and then I do 8 times negative 14. Okay, I put it over 1. 8 times negative 14 over 7, because I multiplied across, give me negative 112 over 7, gives me negative 16, which then is my m. So go ahead and try page 135, numbers 12 and 13, and page 141, numbers 8 and 9. And I'll see you in class.